Hello everyone and welcome to Drawing with Paolo. Today we're going to be drawing an immense character, a character from one of my favorite movies, The Predator. And this Predator character, I'm talking about the Arnold Schwarzenegger version of the 1990s. This character was a revelation to me. It was awesome. After the Terminator, this is my second favorite kind of character. And so we're going ahead here and drawing his right shoulder with his arm coming downwards. And his hand will be out of the page, and of course this fist on this side, the left fist, will be closed in a nice punch fashion so that we can see his blades coming out. And we're going to draw him today with his helmet on. So this is the upper eyebrow portion, and his sort of nose piece will be over here, and we can wrap that around with his eyes. So he's got lenses, black lenses, with which you can see all kinds of modes. You can see in ultraviolet, in heat, in infrared. So this mask is very important for his hunting capabilities. He's got this little flare out here on either side, and it comes down a bit wider at the base, and then it comes across to the bottom. Sort of looks like a stormtrooper helmet at this point. We need to erase the top here. Those lines aren't important anymore. And there's a flat portion to the front of the mask. And we'll give it some battle damage a little bit. This is an older mask. It's not brand new. The top is sort of flat. And then we're going to curve the bottom, well, the side part here. And then there's this portion, a little thick part here that sort of wraps around to the side and to the back. And then it's curved sort of back here. And we need to add the thickness to that. That comes over this way, over like that, and we'll erase the foundation lines. And then of course he's got sort of like his a recessed portion right underneath his chin. And I think the mask is a little too long, so we should erase that and make it a little bit shorter, right? Sort of look funny, so we'll reduce that a little bit in length. It's a little bit rounder on top, I suppose. And there we go, close that off in the back. Okay, so this is like I was saying, the recessed portion in the cheeks, not in the chin, but in the cheeks. And then we're going to start working on his the details to his mask. Now remember, these guys have like nice Rasta long hair. They got really black lenses to their helmets, so we're going to have to color this all nice and black with a few reflections in there. So let's add a few vertical lines that will keep white, and later on we'll color these things super black, but in the moment let's put them in a nice charcoal, a sort of an average gray, dark gray, and this side too. And then he's got this part here that comes flat to reach maybe close to the frontal portion of his face. We're going to color the whole helmet top here with the same kind of gray. Like that. And let's imagine that the light is coming from the top right. And therefore, this portion here will be lighter, and the bottom part will be darker. And also, there's a little bit of a thickness over here, and the underside of that will be dark. So let's create that thickness. More thickness to this piece here at the top of his helmet. That thickness will be bright. Then these portions here will be dark as they're rolling away from the light. I keep hearing from a lot of you that shading is still an issue, and for you guys to learn to draw, the best way to figure out shading, and there's no way around this, is to sit in front of real objects and draw them, and place an object in the sun and draw what you see. And then as you draw them, you build experience, and you figure out exactly what to do later on when you don't have an object as a model. So the idea here is just sitting down in front of a real object and drawing exactly the shading that you see, and eventually you can bring your own imagination to how you want to draw your next objects without a model. And using models aren't wrong. There's not a problem with that. And a lot of people keep saying, hey, you know, I can't draw without a model. That's fine. You just, you figure it out. You use models a lot. I remember going to college, and we had in art class we had a lot of models. Every week we were drawing models. And that's so that we can instill a capability, a habit of drawing what you see. And eventually that gets laid into your mind, and you don't need to use models anymore. So the idea is to just keep practicing with models, draw them tons, and then later on you don't need one when you're drawing anything you want. And so in this case, the shading to this character will be a lot easier because I'm just basing what I used to see as far as specific shapes and what specific shapes look like in the light, and that's what I'm adapting to this drawing today. So I'm using my eraser here. One of the best erasers out there. It's like the pencil eraser, pencil shaped, should I say. It's really cool because it allows me to erase really nice details on my drawings. And I've decided today to show you some portions that I'll erase by hand, whereas usually I just wipe my hand and the lines disappear, but the ones that we need to add a little detail, I'm going to be using my pencil-shaped eraser. You can get that in any art store or any, I guess, Staples or Bureau en Gros in Quebec. In France, I'm guessing you have La Fnac should have things like that. But anyway, the whole purpose is that it's very thin, it's made like a tube, and so it's super simple to erase details. And they're white. White erasers do the best job. So I like using the white erasers. I don't use the pink ones. Pink ones, like, they're pretty much dirty my drawing. And so I buy white erasers all the time. I like the really big thick ones, but it's a great idea to get the small ones too. So on his shoulder here, he's got a shoulder cannon. It's like a plasma gun. I'm not too sure what it is, what it shoots, but this cannon is really cool. It is motion activated, which means he moves his head and aims with his head, and the cannon follows exactly the same path as his helmet is pointing. So his helmet is pointing left, his cannon is pointing left. And so in the cannon, of course, there's a hole here where the bolts come out of, and we're going to color that in nice and dark. Make it black back here, make it look like it's deeper in this section. Just like that. Nice and dark in there. And then we definitely want to leave a little cylinder shape over here, like this is flaring out, just to show that the cannon is a little bit wider at the back, with an oval section here on the right side that will be darker a little bit. Then we'll add some detail to this as we go on. So a little nub there, and a little rectangular piece here, and the same thing on the other side as a mirror effect. And we'll add a little bit of a darker line around the corner there, around the edge. And then we'll add a rectangular piece up here. And that's all that guns are, really. Guns and cannons are just a whole bunch of rectangles and tubes and cylinders and spheres and circles all together that make a gun, essentially. So there we go, just adding a whole bunch of rectangles here. Add a little detail. Now around the edge, we've got the cannon's contour line here, but we want to make sure when we're coloring the inside later on that we leave a little bit, we're going to leave a little bit of a white reflection to that cannon lip. And I'll show you what I mean in a few seconds here. I'm just going to color this darker in here, in between those rectangles. And remember that the light is coming from the top right, so under here it's very dark, as black as you can make it, and as you're coming up, you're drawing it lighter and lighter. Same thing here, very dark underneath here. And as we come to the side, lighter, and so on and so forth. So this cannon is hooked up to sort of like it's like a tube, I don't know, it's a recharge tube, or that's what's getting the energy from. And then there are legs over here that are latched onto his shoulder pad. The thickness of those legs. There we go. And we got a little hook, oh, yeah, it's like a pin in here, holding it together. Dark lines over here. Coloring in here, very dark. A little bit of a shadow that's cast from the cannon. Cast shadow. If you are having difficulty with lights and shadows, I do have a book on the iTunes store, which is available for iPads and for Macs. Sorry for your PC folks out there and the HTC Touches and the Samsungs and all that, but it's really made for Apple products. That's because I use an Apple product to make my books, and it's a interactive book that's called Drawing Like Paolo, Lights and Shadows. Just search for Drawing Like Paolo, and my books will come up. And they're only about $4, so you can check them out. And the last book, the latest book, really talks about lighting and shading. So you can pick it up and you learn a little bit more than you can from these videos, I guess, because we're talking a lot about philosophy, philosophy of art, different techniques in chiaroscuro, the light and dark, and different artists, I would say, not different techniques. This is the little light source there in that cannon. We need to leave that little bit of white is important. And then, of course, from his helmet, there are these little tubes that come down. I guess they're cables that allow him to control his shoulder cannon. You need to erase those little lines in there. Retrace the line. There you go. And then we're going to color these in with an average gray, I would say. Like that. And then a little bit of shadow here at the bottom on either side, or on either tube. And that's it. And then we got a little bit of a thickness back here. And this is the thing that the tubes hook into. And in the Terminator movie, you can see him unplugging all this stuff when he wants to take off his mask to fight Arnold Schwarzenegger in a man-to-man combat without weapons. Of course, this guy is 7'2", and Arnold is 6'2", so a full foot taller. I think Arnold's 6'2", or was anyway. He's getting older. Sorry, Arnold. These lines darker over here for the eye, lenses. Nice and black. Now, contrast is very important in drawing, so you want to make sure that your lines have different weight to them, different tones, very dark tones, very light tones, and you want to keep the white of the paper as well, which is important to balance the drawing out. So here's those Rasta hair, as I said before. It's like a Jamaican style hairdo here, with these tubes that come out from the side of his head with these like metallic jewelry and I don't know, little sections that allow these tubes to connect together. I'm not too sure. And they finish in a point. Well, the hair does anyway, not these dividers. And remember to draw through your lines. I'm going to color this stuff here in an average gray. And then we're going to darken one side. Of course, the left side of each one of these tubes needs to be darker to give that idea of a shadow. Just like that. And these guys will be a little bit lighter. Alright. A little message for you out there. Some of you have been sending me email about special requests on my Facebook page. I would like this special request, I would like that special request, and that's all fine and dandy, and I appreciate your special requests. You know, without your requests, these drawings would not happen. But please make sure to go through my YouTube channel before asking for a special request, because I have a lot of videos done, about 175 or so. Well, I would be bilingual. I'm not sure how many are just English, but check it out, go see before you ask for anything, because some people said, hey, can I get a samurai? Well, I already have a samurai. Or can I get a Viking? Well, I already have a Viking, and I already have the Terminator, and I already have Alien, and I already have, you know, a whole bunch of characters out there, Superman, Spider-Man, and so on, Captain America. So check out my YouTube channel before making any requests, and so that, you know, you can see that those drawings are already done, and instead of having to wait for them, which may take some time, you can just watch them right away. Alright, so let's color the front part of this character here. We're going to color in a light gray, and down here is a little bit darker. We have to leave a little bit of a white spot here so that the light's reflecting off of his mask. This side here will be much darker, especially here in this recessed part, so we need to make that nice and dark. With a little bit of a gradient. Same goes for under here on this little helmet lip, so we're going to color in a regular gray, and then add that shadow underneath. And just like that, a little bit of a shadow part. The side of his eyes don't really matter, it's the same light gray. And then we're going to leave a little bit of a reflection underneath his eye, So just like this, whoop, very, very fine line of white light. Then we can fix that later with our eraser if we want to. Very dark underneath this portion here. And so we're giving volume to this mask. We're giving it more life, more of a lifelike look to it. Shading really changes the aspect of your drawing. That's what makes a drawing look like cartoon and another one look more realistic. The shading is very, very important. Alright, we're going to add some, we're going to age this mask a little bit just by adding a little bit of a gray line to this side of the mask. Same thing goes on the top portion here. And we're going to finish up this little cheek piece. And then maybe darken this edge here a little bit. Alright. That's coming along. Maybe a few longer lines here. A little bit damaged. Not damaged, but aged look. Add a few lines here to the cannon. A little bit of thickness there. And a little bit darker on this end. And we're going to color a little bit of a reflection here across that whole tube. Speed that up a little bit for you. I hear some of you out there, whoa, you're going too fast, man. And so yeah, I am drawing quickly, and I'm also fast forwarding portions that are repeated. So you have the utmost control of your video. You can pause this video at any time, and I encourage you to do so. You don't have to follow in real time, that doesn't really matter. The point is to get your drawing completed. And by the way, this is the longest video so far. This is a 54, let's call it 55-minute video. So I, salute you if you're already, or you're still with me. I really appreciate you tagging along throughout this whole process today. So if you're very courageous and watch this whole video and draw along, well, hopefully you'll end up with a nice predator at the end of it. It is some long time to spend on YouTube. And I appreciate all the viewers out there. I'm approaching 40,000 subscribers. Thank you for that. I'm really, really appreciative of that. I mean, I never expected so many folks to tag along. And I hope this video is very cool for you guys to follow along. So let's draw in his hair on the left side. And the trick here to make this hair look pretty cool is that they can't all be following each other. Each strand needs to be slightly different. So more curved for this one, and then it dives in a bit sooner. This one is a little bit S-curved. And look at that, I'm going to erase my hand here because I'm getting it dirty. I like to use my right eraser for that. But it's okay, you know what, in this drawing we're also going to use the same technique as we have before. We're going to want to smudge that page a little bit. We want that background to be smudged up, and so that we can use our eraser to add some really cool effects to our character later on, to give him more volume, more 3D reflections and whatnot. So the Predator has a sort of a neck brace or a neck protector, and then he's got a backpack which probably has his battery power back in there. It sort of looks like this in the back. A little bit of thickness to that battery pack, and it's got these little sections going down the side of it. We're going to color this in nice and dark under here. Push that backpack back. We want the cannon to seem like it's forward, and so to do that, we're going to color the background, make this nice and dark. And so we have that tube in front here popping out a little bit more. Finish up these little sections here to that backpack. And let's put in this tricep muscle, his bicep on the left side here. Shoulder, bicep, there we go, bicep curve. And then his forearm will come this way, like this, all the way down. Give it a bit more curved bicep. And then the other side of his forearm here. And I'm going to darken this line a little bit. And then, of course, work on his right side. Now there's a shoulder pad. He has a shoulder pad. Actually, it's a sort of a double guard. It's like a moon shape, sort of crescent moon shape, and then another one underneath, like this. And erase those lines inside there. Don't need them. This is a neck guard. And then he's got these very thin lines going across, and I'm going to take my time to show you, the trick here is I'm just going straight. I'm not even going to put a foundation line. I'm just going to draw across, just like that. Keep it going in a nice curve. And once I'm satisfied, I'm going to speed those up a little bit. There you go. It's not real time. I'm speeding that up. And it has a nice necklace. A necklace I'm sure all of you at home would want to own. It's a little animal bone necklace. I don't recommend you hunt anything. If you're going to hunt anything, go with your camera. Take a picture or so. Take a few pictures. Go shoot a few animals with a camera. And collect pictures instead of bones, right? I'm going to add a little bit of detail here to his shoulder pad. And that doesn't look very 3D, so yeah, I'm not real happy with this. So this line should actually come like that, and then go back up. Then on the other side, we should be able to see the thickness to that. That's it, like this. And then the line should continue back here. There we go. Also, we're going to have to erase a bit of this stuff here now. Yeah, that didn't look very 3D, so we're going to have to try to make this pad wrap around his shoulder. So back like this. This comes back and up, and then goes back that way. That looks a little bit better. It looks like it's sort of curved towards us. Looks more realistic. And don't be afraid to erase back home out there. Make sure that every time you do make a little mistake, don't press so hard on the pencil, right? And so that you're able to erase the information there in that shot. Some say, I have a hard time erasing and leaving black lines. Well, the idea is that you don't really want to press too hard on your pencil. You want to be able to erase these lines if ever you need to. So like in this case, for this body armor, you can see how lightly I'm pressing. And that way, if I need to erase these things, which I will later on, the lines don't show at all afterwards. Yeah, so see just little foundation lines, and then as I erase them, they disappear totally. And that's just because I'm pressing very, very lightly. And I know a lot of you just want to draw this character with a smooth single line. And you can do that. Definitely you can do that. But if you make a mistake, then there's really no way to come back from that very dark line. All right, so his left bicep and tricep muscle here. And then his forearm, which goes into a gauntlet. So you have like a forearm protector in which he has his long blade, his telescoping blade, or double telescoping blade. That's the Terminator. Why do I keep saying that? Why do I keep saying Terminator? It's the Predator. The Predator's double blade is the one I'm drawing today. There's a few other types out there, the Aliens versus Predator movies and all that nonsense that came afterwards, which you may be fans of. I'm not really a fan of those movies. I just find them a little bit ridiculous. But hey, it's a sci-fi pick. What's ridiculous? All this stuff is ridiculous. And I love it anyway. Let's work on his knuckles here. Add a few knuckles to his hand. And of course, fingers coming down from those knuckles. There we go. I want those lines to be at varying angles. The finger lines at varying angles, so it looks a little bit more realistic there. And if you make a fist, you'll notice that your smaller finger is sort of tucked in more than your top finger and whatnot. So you want to really reproduce that in these drawings. Now erase those foundation lines in there, and you retrace a few of those finger lines here. Add his thumb over here. He's going to have a really long nail on that thumb. He has really pointed nails. I'm not even sure how he can even make a fist with these nails. He'd be poking the palm of his hand and pushing his nails through his palm by pressing so hard that way. Nevertheless, he's doing it, making this palm and this fist shape. And of course, he's wearing sort of like a glove. So we're going to add those lines here. So he's wearing these little material pieces around his fingers. And then he's got this little portion that wraps around his hand to the back. Like that. And this glove will be a nice dark color, dark shade. And here's his long nail, as I was saying before. Long thumbnail, very dark. Nice black nail. And colored the underside of his fingers here a little bit. They are shaded. And then these pieces of materials are darker. And leave a little bit of a reflection on the right side. and then darken the left side here. Just like a three-tone process. Finger lines at the top, and with a little bit of the knuckles going across. Coloring this shoulder pad. Look at that, look how smooth action that is, right? Ooh, yeah. Coloring these shoulder pads. And then we're going to make sure that there's a little gradient going from the bottom of the shoulder pad all the way up. Lighter color. Same thing goes for the little edge here. Nice and dark. Leave a little bit of a whiter reflection on it. And hopefully you're able to use these techniques on every one of your drawings. I have a lot of you saying, I'd like to learn how to draw Superman. I'd like to learn how to draw Daredevil. I'd like to learn how to draw Wolverine. All of which I have videos for, by the way. But all these characters are based upon the human body. And so if you know how to draw the human body, even this Predator is based on the human body. If you know how to draw the human body, you can then draw any character at all, especially superheroes. Most superheroes just wear spandex. And spandex essentially are lines on the regular human muscular body. And so you can draw any kind of human body, therefore you can draw, well, if you can draw any kind of human body, then you can draw any superhero. Think of it, the Flash, Batman, Superman, Spider-Man are all the same human body in varying sizes that just have lines drawn on them to represent the costume. The costume is so tight to their body that that's all it is. Of course, you know, there's the cape and all that, but other than that, as soon as you learn how to draw the human body, you can draw anything. And so the fact of the matter is, if you know how to draw one of them, you can draw all of them. And so, you know, figure it out. Get to draw one character and draw from the same character, draw another one. You know, maybe I should do a video on that one day. Is like draw one body shape and then just show you how to draw costumes. You know, that's probably more of the answers. How do I draw costume? How do I draw Superman's costume? Rather than how do I draw Superman's body? If you know how to draw the human body, then you can draw anything. Or any character. Alright, let's add a few more details to these bones. So we'll erase the foundation lines. And what's cool is that because my paper's smudging now, when I use my eraser, those lines look a lot whiter. That's very cool. I'm going to color this part here very dark. Just like that. Make it very, very black back there. Retrace some of these lines that I lost while I erased my lines. Add a little bit of a shadow here on the underside of the bones. As far as this drawing is concerned, I'm not using a model. Not per se. I mean, I don't have a character that's in this pose at the moment. But I did do a little bit of research, and the research essentially is going online and searching for a Predator character, a Predator movie, and then you just go through a whole bunch of images and then together piece the parts together to make your own character. So this pose is my own, but the whole idea of the bones and this little leather strap belt that's going across his chest, I know I've seen them in the pictures that I looked at. And so, you know, you can use your iPad or your Mac or your iPhone or, you know, whatever device you have and search the web for these characters and then just use the details and make your own mix and mash of things together. So that's how I use the technique to draw these characters. So I position the body the way I want, but then I use the details from the images that I look at. So this belt is a nice dark color, so I'm going to shade that in. And we should leave a little bit of a reflection here, by making this side a little bit darker, just like that. And ladies and gents, if you're still with me, we are now at our halfway mark. We are halfway completed. So thank you for following this time around, which is a long one. I think our other longest one is the Halo character. So yeah, thank you for being there. Thank you for being patient. Thank you for drawing. Have fun, you know. Have fun with this stuff. Have a blast every time. Just having fun drawing these things for you guys. To answer a few questions, no, this is not my job. I do not draw for a living. I work, I do something else. I'm a teacher. I train people in using Apple products. But I draw for fun. And yes, I've been drawing since I've been three or four, and I do have a bachelor's degree in fine arts. So yeah, I studied art somewhat in my life. I've drawn a lot, and I've gone to school in art and so on. So that answers a few of your general questions out there. If you're watching this video, then there's a few answers for you. Nice little lines here on his forearm, on his gauntlet. And then I'm going to color in some of these lines here for his fist. This is the gloved part that is darker. And a nice 3D look to that. I'm going to curve this a little bit more here. So his thumb muscle, right? That bump at the bottom of your thumb. And the palm section, nice and dark under there. And then we're going to make these nice curved lines for the blades. Now in this case, see, I'm not moving my piece of paper. I'm not turning it where I should be turning it in order to draw these lines. But because I want my paper to be straight to the camera, I can't move my book around, my sketch pad. You guys at home, please take the time to rotate your sketch pad to make these lines. And you are quite allowed to do so. I'm not doing it. I would otherwise if I wasn't filming this. But I would spin my sketch pad around so I'd be able to actually draw in the fashion I want to. Move your paper around a lot. Make it more comfortable for you to draw. And don't necessarily emulate that portion of my videos. You don't have to keep your piece of paper super horizontal. This is just so that you can get a better understanding of what's happening. Otherwise, I would definitely, in real life, if I'm not filming, I am rotating my page to get a better angle on what I'm drawing. Color that in, color this in. Nice little gray line there, very light, lighter than the glove anyway. And we're going to thicken this part here of his armor. The side of his body seemed a little thin to me. Need to eat a little bit to expand. Bicep muscle here, tricep muscle here, a little bit detailed of triceps. Look at that, that's coming in very nicely. Overlapping lines is very important to give that illusion of depth of 3D. Because we are working on a flat space. How do you make a flat space look like it's three-dimensional? You add shading and overlapping lines. It makes things look more realistic and looks like it's popping out of the page. Color this bicep, watch. So the whole point of making this bicep shaded is to make it look like it has a real volume. And a bicep, what's the shape of a bicep? Can you figure it out? Shape of a bicep is like the shape of an egg, for example. An egg, look at the egg shape in that bicep. An upside down egg. And if you look at an egg in the light, you'll notice that the light is hitting one portion of the egg, and the light is rolling away, making that egg darker. And so that's what you have to do with this bicep and tricep. Same thing. What is the basic shape? And then shade it in that basic shape. There we go. Look at this. Nice and dark at the bottom. And as I go lower, make it even darker. Nice gradient. And then let's work on blade here. This telescoping blade. First part. Second part with a nice little hook here. Rip that stuff out of the body, it won't be too nice. That, nice and dark. Look at that. Alright, cool. That's that part. Let's make this a little bit more crazy here. So we're going to make this a nice straight line here, all the way down to his forearm. But then we're going to do a few hooks. And a third. Alright, look at that. It's crazy. Let's erase these lines here that we don't need. Woo, that's a scary blade. I would not want to be... Well, I don't want to be skewered ever, but I'm saying that if I ever had to be skewered, I wouldn't want to be skewered by one of these blades. Does that make any sense? It's nonsense. I know it's nonsense. But now the tough part, after we make the sort of sharpened edge here, we draw these contour lines that I erased out. So add a little bit of the sharpened edge here. We have to do the second blade exactly like the first one. We have to create a mirror image of the first blade. And that's not very easy to do. Not very many people can do this. But, you know, it just takes practice. Once again, the 3 P's for success. Practice, patience, and perseverance. For those of you out there that knew it already, hey, thumbs up. 2 thumbs up. But right now I'm busy drawing, so I can actually thumbs up to you. There we go, the sharpened edge. And we're going to give it a little bit of a metallic shading, so that means dark, space, dark, a little bit lighter, space. Always leave like a little bit of white reflection in there, like that. So it looks like it's a metallic alloy something material. Look at that, it's kind of pretty good. I really like to see your drawings. If you want to share your drawings with me while I smudge the back of my paper here in the back with my palm, so we can erase later on and have a nice contour line of this character. If you want to share your drawings, share your drawing of this predator that you're drawing right now. You can share it with me on Facebook. Go to Facebook, use your mom's account, your dad's account if they allow you, and you can share your drawing, or you can have your own account if you're old enough. If you're 40 like me, hey, just share that drawing with me, and I'm glad to share it on my Facebook page. It is a great place to share your drawings with everyone else, and you get to see awesome comments that people make about your drawings, and it's my pleasure to post them there. That's what my Drawing with Paolo page is all about, is posting everybody's art and to have a nice little artistic sanctuary for all of us. And I'm actually coloring in here this lizard skin, because of course the predator is some kind of a lizard. And with his pectoral muscles here, we're going to put in that lizard skin a little bit everywhere, but first we need to color in this whole body color, leaving a little bit of a white reflection here on the left side. And then here's a pectoral muscles and his abdominal muscles. Here's the pec right here. Shade that in. And I add that little bit of a reflection here to that belt. It's a really cool little thing there, a little belt reflection. That. Check it out. And then make this portion here darker underneath. So as I was saying, come and visit Facebook, Drawing with Paolo. That's where I try to respond to most of my email. Because, you know, I can't be going I don't have the time, sorry to say, but I don't have the time to go to every website. Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Google Plus to answer all your questions. So I'm trying to focus on one location, and that's Facebook. So I apologize if I seem to be ignoring you. I really don't want to. But it's just that, you know, I work weekly and I have family. So, you know, I do these on my spare time. And I try to answer every one of my comments and emails on Facebook. But, you know, I have to limit where I can go. Let's color in this ab muscle right here, in the darker part of the bottom, and a little bit of a shading here at the top because of the pectoral muscle that's creating a cast shadow underneath. Make this abdominal muscle a little bit thicker here with shading. Same thing for this bottom. We'll leave a little bit of detail out of that one, just a little bit of shading. Nice contour line. Yeah, this is what's going to blow your mind, is once you get really good at shading, you don't need contour lines. Boom! Mind blown. Contour lines are really a comic book way of developing a drawing. But if you use the pencil in a manner which is conducive to reality, so if you're drawing something that looks realistic, you don't need any contour lines. The shading will do that for you automatically. You can sort of see that with the body here. So I do have a contour line on the outside, but I wouldn't really need one because the shading sort of denotes the shape of the body. And the predator here has this sort of mesh t-shirt he's wearing. It's made like of a netting, and that netting needs to follow his contour lines, his body lines. Where this loses realism is if you make those lines super straight. It wouldn't make any sense because your body is not straight. Your body has curves. And so this mesh bodysuit or whatever should be following those curves. Just like here, right? So you get a nice curved line. Nice curved line here, right? We can make those really dark too, by the way, to add some contrast to this drawing. Add a few circles here for detail into his armor. So we're going to retrace these contour lines that we're using today. Maybe one day I'll make a video with no contour lines whatsoever. It's craziness. And we're going to open up this armhole here a little bit more. Alright, so for this drawing marathon, we have a few minutes remaining for this Predator drawing marathon. We have about 15 minutes left. And once again, if you're still with me, I salute you. I salute your courage. I salute your work ethic. It's not an easy one to tag along with. I don't know how many views I'm going to get out of this video because it's so long. But it's awesome. It's a great drawing. I'm very happy with it so far. I have the little abdominal here. Continue the left side all the way to the right side and add the mesh lines here. I would not want to wear a t-shirt like that in public, although I'm pretty sure some people do. I wouldn't want to wear a net to work. Although I do have an ant called Annette. Get it? Annette? Okay, I'm not that funny. You can tell me, keep your day job, P. Draw, but don't tell any jokes. Now, I do have an aunt called Annette, and I bug her a lot with that. With her, playing badminton with Annette, and using spray Annette. Although I don't have hair, so I don't use spray Annette. But I know some females that use spray Annette. Alright, so let's add this shading here to the right side of this body armor. And it casts a shadow to his body here, so we're going to add a nice dark line on this side here. Just like that. And we're going to add that skin texture here. Sort of like a leopard, but much smaller and more densely packed. That's that. Look at that. It's coming out. Actually looks like an egg. Those brown eggs that have little spots on them. This is sort of what they look like. Pretty cool effect. I like it. Adds another layer of depth. We're going to add a little tube here, which is his cannon control tube. Whatever he does on his forearm will actually control his cannon. Although, he should be using Bluetooth at this point. It is the future. If he was using Bluetooth, he wouldn't need a tube going to his cannon. Bluetooth is good for a good 20 feet. Come on, Predator guys. I thought you were from the future or something. Advanced technologically, but you're using tubes to fire your cannon. Alright, so we're going to add the contour lines to our shoulder and bicep here. And then the right arm pad or shoulder pad comes to the flat part to the front here. Look at that. There we go. Little line to the thickness of his pad with some little holes in there for ventilation, I guess. I'm not so sure. And then we're going to color that in with a regular gray all the way across. And even this side here has sort of like his backpack interwoven parts, sort of like they did in armor, knight armor, all those years ago. I wish I had armor like that. The knight armor is pretty cool. I'd like to see one be built, and I'd like to wear one. But made of aluminum, so it's light. Alright, color this part in here. Leave a little bit of a reflection on the back end, and color this part in as well. And we're going to make the bottom portion of each one of these sections darker. So just like this, we're going to make this nice and black to show that there's a little recess in there, there's a little bit of a hole underneath these things. Little slits. Like that. Yeah, I like this drawing. I don't always like my drawings, and this might surprise you, but there are very few drawings that I've posted on Facebook, and rather YouTube, that I like a lot. And this one I like a lot. I mean a lot. I like this one. I like the Alien. I like the Terminator before that one. I think they're pretty well made. I like the Boxers. There's some that I really don't like. I won't mention those. I won't say which ones I don't like, but there are some I don't like. And that's normal. As being someone that draws a lot, if you were to like every one of your drawings, you wouldn't be able to get any better at it. So if you don't like your drawings, then you're like, hey, I can make this better. I can do a better job next time. And that's the whole point, is if you don't like them, then you'll strive to get better at it. But don't get discouraged. If you get discouraged, then you stop. And we don't want you to stop. We want you to keep going. And even if you don't like those drawings, keep them. Don't destroy them. Don't throw them out. You want to keep them, Look at them and then base your next drawing on those drawings that you don't like and figure out how you can make them better. I'll color this a little bit darker over here. But so far, this drawing is really nice. I like it. Spending an hour drawing this thing is not too bad, right? Okay, we're 5 minutes off the hour. Not a full hour, but not too far out. Hopefully you have unlimited internet. Unlimited power. Unlimited internet is unlimited power. Draw all day long with all my videos. So we're going to draw these curved lines here with this tube all the way down. Bum, 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 and bum. And then we're going to add some nice shading to this shoulder and bicep and forearm, elbow, and color this section darker here at the bottom of each one of these parts. Once again, think of that egg that we're shading here for the bicep. So it's nice and dark over here, and then as it goes up, it gets lighter and lighter, so that's what we call a gradient. And then we're going to add a little bit of shading on this end, like this. Nice and dark down here. Gorgeous! And then dark at the shoulder part. And that shoulder pad is making a shadow there too. And then we're going to work on the gauntlet, so his forearm. This is where you can actually have a little mini nuclear bomb to his forearm. I don't know if I'd want that for myself personally. Nuclear bombs are no good in any way, shape, or form. Or any bomb for that matter. And especially tagged to your forearm. Yeah, very good. And then we're going to color this and make a nice little, let's erase that line then. Oh look, see the little white line around that forearm part that I just erased? That's what we want to do later on for the whole thing. I'm going to color this in nice and dark. Add a little bit of dark shadow here underneath that gauntlet part. Finish this line off. Add a little bit of shading to every one of those vertical lines. Like this. Add a bit more detail here. Add some horizontal lines here. That's where, you can open up his little reader and see the countdown begin to his explosion. A detonator. Coloring this tubing all the way up. And then we're going to add a little bit of a reflection like we did for the tube that's tied to his cannon. So a little bit of a dark here. And then every portion will have a little bit of dark. One half of it will be darker. Let me speed that up for you. There we go. And now with the palm, I'm going to smudge the background a little bit more. I want my paper to be dirtier. I don't find it too dirty, so I'm going to smudge this. I know some of you are saying, "You're crazy, man! You're crazy! You're smudging your drawing." Yeah, but it's all all for art. It's a sacrifice for art. Add a few more details to these bones. Recontour them a little bit. And of course, we need to finish his hair on this side. And as I'm doing that, I'm sort of smudging his helmet with my palm. That's okay, we're not using the paper technique today. Remember that. If you want to use the paper technique, which means placing a piece of paper underneath your hand, not to smudge your drawing, you can go ahead and do that. Please do so if you want to. I, today, want a nice, dirty drawing, because that gives some style, too. Curved lines here. Retrace these lines. That's it. The little separators, the little, I guess it's jewelry that he put in his hair. I'm not sure what those things are. Stan Winston. Stan Winston is an special effects creator, and he created this character with his team. It's a fantastic character. Looked very, very good on film. Most happy to draw it today. Let's color in this hair. We have to make sure that the ones that are behind there are much darker than the ones in front of. Right? So the back hair, the hair that's deepest in the hair, in there, has to be much darker. And remember that this half needs to be darkened. So we're going to darken all this part here. And I'm going to speed that up for the other ones. And also his jewelry is sort of lighter gray than his hair. Alright, alright. Alright, so we got all the shading done on this side of the hair. The next step now is to finish these guys off. Work on maybe a little bit of the points on his hair like this to show the ending. Maybe 2 on this side, 1 here. Points, his hair points curving up. Second one here. And then we'll just add the details to his jewelry. Just like that. Okay, so now with our eraser, we're going to erase the contour of this character as we've done before with Ghost and with the Terminator. Did we do that for the Terminator? I forget. I know we did it for the Alien anyway. So we're just going to erase a nice white line which detaches the character from the background. And because we did smudge the background a little bit with our palm, then that allows us to erase the contour. And sometimes the white line will sort of disappear in the background. That's cool. It's a nice look happening. That means the paper isn't too dirty. And the final step will be erasing the contour of the actual character. We'll, after the contour of the character, we're going to actually erase highlights in his armor and skin and so on. And while you're doing this, make sure not to erase your contour lines too much. You want to keep these guys intact. And if ever you do, well, don't worry about it. We can always redraw back on top of them. Like I just did there, I just erased a little portion of it. I'll just retrace it later on. So now let's add some highlights on his armor. Just need to retrace some of these things, make them a little bit darker, a little bit more contour lines. And the beautiful part here is, you can always go back, draw, go to another portion of the drawing. There's really nothing stopping you from redrawing any portion of this drawing at any point in time. Just going to erase around his blades. Like that. And so we need a little bit of a highlight here underneath his eyes. This. A little bit of a highlight on top of his helmet over here. Just like this. And maybe one over here. Let's add two nice reflections. One on his cheek. Look at that. It's giving us a nice 3D look. A little bit of that 3D look on the bones. And the belt. A bicep muscle here. Anywhere I think should be like a great place to put a reflection. It's time to erase that section. Every one of these sections here should have one. And the body armor, each level should have one. Just like that. That's a really good job. Bones again. I'm going to have to retrace those bones afterwards, but that's okay. A little circular piece on his forehead and this curve here at the top. His hair. Just erase a little bit of that hair. And with that, we only have a few minutes left to go. So, erase the blade here, give that a nice little reflection in the blade. So guys, you know what? I want to thank you for having stuck around for this whole hour with me and drawing this predator. I really hope it turned out as good as mine did. I'm pretty sure it did. You guys are amazing out there. You're doing a great job of rendering my videos. I really appreciate it. Thank you for being around. Have an awesome day. Final touch, my signature. See you soon on another episode of Drawing with Paolo.